Hi, welcome to Bobby Cinema Theater. I'm Bobby Cinema, you can call me BC. Today's April 5th and my 9th week of my webcast. Live at Bobby Cinema, produce the new movies and DVDs that's out this week, and where I make my final grade on the movie out this week. Go to my website where you can read the plot and watch the movie trailer. The first movie out this week in theaters is Leatherhead, starring George Clooney and Renee Zellweger. Written, directed, and produced by George Clooney. Introduced by Universal Studios. I took a look at this film. I recommend people watching this movie. George Clooney and Renee Zellweger are like Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith in this movie. About Zellweger's character, Lexi Littleton, who's a sports writer, and Jimmy Dodge Connolly, an aging quarterback trying to save his football team in 1925. George Clooney and Renee Zellweger made an extraordinary performance in this film. My hat's off to them. Grade this movie a B. The next movie out this week is Nim's Island, starring Jodie Foster and Abigail Breslin. Written and directed by Jennifer Flackett and Mark Levin. Produced by Cary Grant and Paul Mazar. And just by 20th Century Fox. I took up this film. I recommend people watching this movie in theaters. Jodie Foster and Abigail Breslin made an extraordinary performance in this movie about a successful writer creating Indiana Jones character Alex Rover as a treasure hunter and adventurer based on herself that never left the house. Nims Russo's father is lost in sea and asks Alex to help her find him. Since Alex doesn't have a choice but go in to help her and give her courage to become like him. Since Alex doesn't have a choice to help her and give her courage to become like the character Alex Rover. My hat's off to Jodie Foster. Abigail Breslin in this movie. I read this movie a B+. The movie of this week is The Ruins, starring Jonathan Tucker and Jenna Malone. Directed by Carter Smith, produced by Chris Bender, and directed by DreamWorks Pictures. I took with this film. I don't recommend people watching this movie in theaters. This is the worst movie I've ever seen since Freddy vs. Jason. The first movie I liked was watching The Grudge, going on vacation. But this should be but they should get better actors and better writers for this film. I rate this movie a D-. The next movie out this week is My Blueberry Nights, starring Jude Law and Norah Jones. Written, directed, and produced by Wong Kar-wai, and distributed by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer and the Weinstein Company. I took a look at this film. I recommend people watching this movie in theaters. Jude Law and Norah Jones made an extraordinary performance about two people meeting in a restaurant. My hat's off to them. I rate this movie a B-. The movies are out this week. The next movie that's out on DVD this week is Alvin and Chipmunks, starring Jason Lee, Justin Long, Matthew Gray Gubler, and Jesse McCartney. Directed by Tim Hill, produced by Ross Wagner Jr., Janice Carmen, and Steve Waterman, and just by 20th Century Fox. I've seen this movie in theaters. I recommend people watching this movie on TV. It goes back to childhood when you were a kid and when you watch Alvin and the Chipmunks. No one thought they could turn this into a live-action movie, but they did. Justin Long, Matthew Gray Gubler, and Jesse McCartney made an extraordinary performance of Alvin, Simon, and Theodore in a singing chipmunk band. My hat's off to them. But one performance I don't like is Jason Lee playing David Seville. But the rest of the actors did really well, but Jason Lee doesn't have the performance of David Seville. My hat's off to Justin Long, Matthew Gray Gubler, and Jesse McCartney to them. Rate this movie an A-. The next movie that's out this week on DVD is Sweeney Todd, Demon Barber of Fleet Street, starring Johnny Depp, Helen Bonham Carter, and Albert, directed by Tim Burton, produced by Richard D. Zanuck, by Paramount, DreamWorks, and Warner Brothers. I took up this film. I recommend people watching this movie on DVD. Johnny Depp made an extraordinary performance as Sweeney Todd as the Dr. Hannibal Lecter in a barbershop slashing people away. My hat's off to him. Rate this movie a B-. That's all the time we have today. Come back next week where I introduce the new movies out this week and on DVD. Don't forget to log into my website where you can look into my new trailers, play my movie trivia, and my puzzle. This is BC. See you next week and get on my theater.